Hi, I'm Dr. Elliot Adam from ElliotOracle.com. I'm also the author of the award winning Fearless Tarot and Tarot in Love, Consulting the Cards and Matters of the Heart. Both books are published by Llewellyn and they're available online wherever books are sold. And this week it is time for our Oracle reveal. So earlier I placed up a photo on my social media of three different animals and asked you to use your intuition and just ask yourself which animal seems to be calling to you, because that animal has your message. And the three animals were the koi fish, the owl, and the stag. So if you're just joining me now, ask yourself which animal seems to be calling to you this week, because that animal has your message. And you'll also want to stick around for the outro of this video, because I'm going to pick one final tarot card for all the animals, for everybody collectively, as a message to go into the next week. And also remember, if my style of reading really resonates with you, you can book a one-on-one tarot session with me at ElliotOracle.com. So without further ado, let's go into our animal oracles. So the first animal this week is the koi fish. And the koi fish is the archetype of abundance. If you're attracted to the koi fish this next week, this could be a time where your attitude toward abundance is getting adjusted in some way. Perhaps you're starting to affirm more abundance in your life, or you're also just kind of banishing thoughts of lack. The koi fish is reminding you that there is plenty for all. There's plenty. There's more than enough in this world. And this card could tell you to shift your focus from looking at things as difficult or hard to instead really attuning to where the current seems to be flowing right now. The koi fish can also indicate beauty at this time. So this could be a time when you're really accessing your own inner beauty or expressing it with others in a grander way. But either way, there's this fluidity, this water quality to the koi fish, and that is going to be what you're going to want to follow the current with. The first card for koi fish is, where is it best for you to place your focus this next week? And we get the Four of Cups. And on the Four of Cups, we see this figure. He's worried about his problems. He's thinking about the future. He's regretting the past. He's so stuck in his head that he's blind to the opportunity that's right in front of him. There is this divine hand coming out of a cloud offering this gentleman a golden cup, and yet he can't see it. And this is the way it is with us a lot of times. Sometimes we're so focused on our problem, we're so focused on the future, what's going to happen to me, or the past, that we're absolutely forgetting where our power really is, which is in the present. This card is saying that there is support or a miracle or something wonderful that's trying to find its way toward you. And yet, if you're stuck in your head, you're not going to be able to see it. This card can also indicate taking for granted the gifts you already have. You can see this figure on the card has already acquired 3 cups. And he might even be worried about how to preserve those cups for the future or what's going to happen to them. But he's not enjoying them. And so he's almost taking all of this for granted. And that's kind of this blockage energy. His arms are crossed, his legs are crossed, his posture is closed. And since we're talking about the koi fish, this could be a time where you're really asking yourself, am I posturing myself for openness to abundance, or openness to what my heart's desire is at this time, or even openness to divine support or help? Or am I collapsing in on myself, focusing on the past, worrying about the future, and completely shortchanging myself and my ability to turn this situation around? The advice from your inner wisdom, if you pick the koi fish, is another fluid, watery card in the high priestess herself. And the advice from your inner wisdom could not be clearer, because the high priestess is the archetype of your inner wisdom. She's your intuition. She's the personification for your instincts, the deeper you. And her wisdom is quiet. And if we're stressed, and if we're worried, and if we're not focused on really slowing our breath and turning within and going deeper than our fears of the future or the past, then it can be so difficult to hear the high priestess. A dear friend of mine, Nancy Retzloff, when she was alive, she used to have on her dresser a little note to herself. And the note said, "You must be quiet to enter the temple." And I think that this is such an appropriate saying for the High Priestess card. Because if our minds are loud and noisy and we're just so freaked out and our fear is getting the megaphone, we may not be able to hear that silent, quiet little inner wisdom. And so the High Priestess is telling you to get quiet, to find a way to retreat, to turn inward, because the answers are there, not to sound cliche. But turning inward is different than ruminating on something or stressing out about a problem. I think it's time to sort of relax or allow that fluidity in. The high priestess is seated before a vast ocean, which every drop of water that fills that ocean could represent a lifetime that she's spent on this planet. And so she's accumulated a lot of wisdom over the years. And so too has your soul, has your spirit. And the high priestess can tell you it's time to tap into the deeper, more eternal part of yourself and stop stressing out about these passing little problems. The high priestess is a major arcana card. She represents the major thing in your life right now, the inner life. And the minor arcana cards, they represent passing situations, problems that come in and go just as easily. And yes, being mortal, you have to solve problems and go through things, but the high priestess is telling you to have an eye on the divine. And then the mythic archetype that's going to help you this next week is Hebe. She is the goddess of youth. And appropriately with this water theme, she's also the cupbearer of the gods. She's the one who pours the nectar and ambrosia for the gods to ensure their youth and immortality. And Hebe could be saying that it's time for you to return to a lighter, more youthful, more innocent aspect of your psyche or your spirit. The part of you that can play and lighten up. Even her card here, it says play. And what that can indicate is that it's time to really access what is carefree, joyful in you, because that is the approach to take. And I almost get this feeling that you're needing to go with these currents. You're needing to follow your intuition to get through the challenges at hand. It isn't a time to just problem solve or bang your head against the wall as you're trying to wait for things to finally come into focus. Hebe is telling you to find laughter and to lighten up. Next, we're going to go into the owl animal spirit. So if you're attracted to the owl, this is also an archetype of inner wisdom. The owl sees through the dark, and the owl can see what other people may not want them to see. If you're attracted to the owl, or the owl is one of your spirit guide animals, you may be one of those people who's very intuitive yourself. You can look through people or situations and see exactly what's hidden beneath the surface. And this can be very off-putting for some people, especially those individuals who are hiding something or feel guilty about something or don't want to share something that they feel they don't want to expose to the world. And yet the owl sees it so clearly. And so owls, you either love them or you hate them. And there are cultures in this world that are absolutely suspicious of the owl. And yet you just have to sort of accept that as your medicine going through this life. If you're attracted to that owl medicine, where you may just have to go your own road and attract those people that are meant to be in your path. And if you repel the people that don't like your energy or are off put by your ability to see through their BS, good riddance. You don't need those people around you anyway. First card for the owl is where is it best for you to place your focus? And we have a little bit of a theme here with the Page of Cups. And the reason I say that is because the mythic archetype for the koi fish just now was Hebe, the goddess of youth. And yet the Page of Cups is the archetype of youth in the tarot. And in fact, in the tarot deck that I'm drawing that's coming out next year, on the Page of Cups card, I put Hebe, which is really crazy because these are two cards that are really linked. The Page of Cups, like Hebe, and for the owl's message of where to place your focus, is to find that innocent, playful, childlike nature within you. This could be a time to not let that part of you not let that part of you or allow that part of you to get too serious or to allow itself to get sort of swallowed by the harshness of the external world. And yet this doesn't mean being completely irresponsible. You know, the Page of Cups can indicate that this is a time for you to really balance work with play. The Page of Cups can also indicate creativity and psychic ability, We can see even that little fish whispering into the page's ear. I almost feel like that fish is reminding me of the koi fish again. And so I feel like if you picked owl this week, you might also want to listen to the koi fish message because it looks like these two are linked. And that's been happening lately where there's been this little silver thread binding all the animals together. But I do feel like this is going to be an important time to listen to that playful part of yourself that doesn't take things so seriously that it just kills all your joy. Also, if you want to express yourself artistically, musically, poetically in some way, the Page of Cups is the perfect archetype for that. The next card is going to be advice from your inner wisdom if we pick the owl. We get the Ace of Pentacles. And this is one of the most prosperous cards in the tarot. The Ace of Pentacles, if you look it up online or in a tarot book, a lot of times it has to do with a new job, a new opportunity, but also wealth consciousness. And tied into that koi fish and that spirit of abundance, I do feel for the owl that there is something new that's opening for you that is going to lead toward great success. This could be a call towards something that feels so important to do and to manifest something in the earthly, worldly realm. The pentacle suit is governed by the element of earth, and it's all about manifesting something important. I feel like a doorway of wonderful opportunity is opening for the owl, but I feel like to step through that doorway, you need to maintain your childlike innocence or your ability to look at this with wonder. It cannot just be about work. It cannot just be about looking at things with spacey eyes or too serious of eyes. It almost needs a balance between these two archetypes. And yet I feel like there is a divine hand coming out of a cloud offering a gift to you in this card as well, just like in the koi fish with the Four of Cups. And it is time to say yes to that abundance that's being presented to you. And abundance exceeds far beyond just financial status or money or a number in your bank account. Abundance is a state of mind and a state of being. And I do feel like that abundance is opening up for you if you pick the owl. But I also feel like an opportunity is being presented and you need to take full advantage of it while still maintaining that innocent inner child to help guide you through. And the mythic archetype that's going to help you this next week, if you pick the owl, is Atlas. And Atlas is the Titan who holds the weight of the heavens on his shoulders. And indeed, it might have felt like for you that you've been carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders as well. And yet this card says responsibility. And this card is saying that by facing the thing that you need to take care of right now, by taking responsibility for it, you're actually going to alleviate the sense of burden in your life more than you're going to feel like you're put upon by it. This card can indicate that by confronting the thing that you know you need to do, instead of kicking that can down the road or procrastinating, that is going to be what makes you feel lighter and freer. And Atlas, he can represent the need to face these responsibilities, to do your job, to do the thing in front of you. Otherwise, you're going to feel like Chicken Little with the sky falling on your head. And yet I also feel with Atlas, he was told to carry the weight of the heavens on his shoulders for a great while. And even he gets rescued by Heracles, who comes to eventually lift the heavens off of his back and then place a mountain there in Atlas's stead. So I kind of feel like there is work to do that's going to help alleviate the burden in front of you. And you must take responsibility for it. You must do it. No one else is going to do it but you. And yet, even though this is a big responsibility, you're also needing to maintain that childlike wonder, that innocence. That's going to be so important this next week as well. So I just feel like there's some important things going on and an important connection between the koi fish and the owl for sure. And then we're going to go into our third animal spirit, which is the stag. And the stag is the archetype of leadership and nobility. The stag is the king of the woodland realm. And the stag can indicate for you that, again, it is time for you to step into your nobility and to take leadership, take ownership of the direction of your life. The stag is also asking you to serve as an example to others. Your dignity and your grace can absolutely communicate something to the world around you that's very important. And people right now, they're looking for models. They're looking for reassurance of what true leadership leadership of integrity really looks like. And I feel like you can provide that if you turn to your better angels. The first card for the Stag is where is it best for you to place your focus this next week? And we get the King of Pentacles. And the King of Pentacles is a card of responsibility as well. He can represent planting the seeds to your future success, tending the vineyards to ensure that the sweetest grapes are going to grow. The King of Pentacles has these robes decorated with those grapes, and grapes are notoriously fickle to cultivate. They take years to produce the sweetest grapes, and vineyards don't just grow overnight. So this is sometimes an archetype that says what you're needing to place your focus on needs some time, and you need to cultivate this over time. The next card we got is the Page of Swords, which represents the advice from your inner wisdom. And the Page of Swords is hypervigilant. Sometimes he's so worried about a potential threat or a difficulty or a challenge that he's kind of on guard to it. And so the Page of Swords can indicate that you might be thwarting some of your best opportunities with that King of Pentacles energy right now if you're too hypervigilant. This card can also indicate an overguarded energy or a posture that you're kind of putting on yourself in the world, that you're signaling to the world that you're expecting a conflict, you're expecting a threat. And it's very interesting, if we're getting up every morning and we are gearing up for a battle, like the Page of Swords, the world's going to give it to us. The universe is going to reflect that energy, reflect that energy signature, and it's going to give you conflict. It's going to give you hardship and loss and difficulty, or things to scare you and make you more nervous. And so I see these two archetypes here, one that's very mature, very seasoned in the King of Pentacles, and one that's kind of defensive and reactive and almost makes an assumption of the worst before it actually happens. I also feel from these two cards, the King of Pentacles holds the wisdom to know that certain things take time. And the Page of Swords is the impulsive youth who does not have that propensity for wisdom of a long time of observing things growing over time. So he looks at things as, if it's not working perfectly right now, there must be something terribly wrong with it. And so I have to be very afraid of it, and I have to figure out how to figure this thing out. So Page of Swords can represent that there's a sharp quality that you might be accessing at this time that's really undermining the very success that you're trying to build. Slow and steady in this case really will win the race. And so I do feel like you need to lower your unnecessary defenses, and you also need to stop rationalizing away the challenges that are in front of you as setbacks or as something to rail against or feel like you're victimized by. And instead say, oh, there's a challenge presented. Okay, the King of Pentacles would handle this and say, okay, that challenge is an opportunity here. It's an opportunity to course correct and get on the right track and to really correct something as well that could lead towards success for me. And then the mythic archetype that's going to help you appropriately if you pick the Stag is Kronos. And Kronos in Roman mythology is also called Saturn. And Saturn is the planet of discipline and limitations. And you can see his card, it says cycles. So it can indicate that sometimes we're in the cycle of planting the seed. Sometimes we're in the cycle of tilling the fields and doing all the hard labor and taking the responsibility to ensure that the thing can grow. And sometimes we're in the season of Saturn with his scythe of the harvest. And I feel like this is what the whole thing is for Stag. It's like there's a season for everything, and you may be assessing your current situation through the lens of the wrong season. You may be expecting to see harvest, and yet you're still in planting season. And so, of course, it's not going to feel in harmony with that, harvest if you're not quite at that place yet. And instead of looking at this stage as something that's wrong or incorrect, you may need to look at this with the eyes of the King of Pentacles and see that things will grow in its season. Of all the minor arcana cards or all the archetypes in the tarot, the King of Pentacles alone holds the golden scepter of the Empress. And she is that goddess archetype, that goddess energy that can really tell you that everything will grow in its appropriate moment. So I think that's going to be really significant for you. I also feel that whatever setbacks, limitations, or difficulties you're going through, that Saturn card is telling you to take responsibility for them. So, I was saying the first two animals are linked with the koi fish and the owl. I think all three animals are absolutely mirroring each other with an important message this next week. So I do feel like there is work to do. And yet, you do not want to lose your sense of childlike wonder. You don't want to lose your sense of playfulness and ability to grow. And you do want to also just have an eye on the long game. And that is this week's Oracle. I do hope you enjoyed it. Before I get to the last card, which is our collective card, I just want to thank you so much for watching. Please do throw me a thumbs up, put a comment in the comment box, and also subscribe to the channel if this content really resonates with you, because it absolutely helps YouTube know that you find this valuable. And also, if you want to schedule a one-on-one tarot session with me, you can do that at elliotoracle.com. I also just started to offer this last year email readings. So if you send me your question, I will record a video much like this, specifically geared toward your particular situation, and that can go right to your inbox so you don't have to worry about a scheduling problem. And with all of that said, let's go into our final card, which is the card for the collective. And the card we get here is the Empress. We were just talking about her because she also holds that golden scepter that appears on the King of Pentacles. The Empress is the mother goddess of the tarot, and for me, she's my absolute favorite card. She is that reassuring voice in your ear that is telling you everything's going to be okay. But you have to allow things time to grow in their appropriate season. The Empress will never let you down. She ensures that the seasons come and go just as they're meant to. And the seasons of your life might be something that are really under the microscope this next week. It might be a time where you need to get clear on what season you're finding yourself in. And you might also need to be patient with yourself. Yes, I'm using the word patience, the number one word that everyone hates to hear in a tarot reading. Sometimes we want it now. We want to see the success in the thing that we're so desperate for. And yet that desperate energy signature, that's absolutely going to drive away the very thing that you're trying to attract to yourself. So the Empress is saying, shh, calm down, relax. Loosen up a little bit. Stop focusing on this thing as if you need to mangle it into submission or get it under control. Sit back in the garden of your life. And as my mother used to say, a watched pot never boils. So sometimes if we're so focused on that one sector of our life that doesn't seem to ever be boiling, doesn't ever seem to be active, we might be neglecting some other parts of our life that actually need our divine nurturing. The Empress is telling you that abundance is your birthright. And she's also telling you that if you can relax, if you can breathe in, if you can take a cue from nature this next week, it'll do wonders for your spirit. I really appreciate you watching a YouTube video, but the Empress is telling you you need to get out in nature. So it might be time to turn off the phone after this, go outside, and breathe in some fresh air. Notice the animals around you. Notice the sky. Notice the light out there. Be alive. Be grounded in this life. There's so much wonder to it. And we're all in the state of creating something that we're desiring. And so it's okay if it's not finished yet. It's okay if it's a work in progress. Because as soon as you attain the next thing that you're desiring, you're going to want to desire something else after that. And so the Empress is telling you to chillax, to take a chill pill, and to really connect to the grounded nature within you. And that is finally this week's Oracle. I do hope you enjoyed it. Again, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I will see you again here next week as I see you every week. So everybody out there, do take care.